Hi, my name's Tom, and today we're going to learn about trauma and attachment injury. Many of us have experienced trauma, often described as a psychological damage that occurs after living through an extremely different or frightening or distressing event or situation. For some of us, this trauma can be a long-term experience. It's caused by an overwhelming amount of stress that exceeds our ability to cope and may make it hard to function even long after the event. Trauma can come from childhood experiences or from events that occur in our adulthood. It can be sudden, or it can develop over time from a series of events that change how we perceive ourselves and the world. This also includes the resulting trauma from discrimination or bigotry. While trauma frequently comes from life-threatening events, any situation that leaves one feeling emotionally or physically in danger can be traumatic. It's not the objective facts of the event that define the trauma. Distress is relative to what might be considered traumatic for one may not for others. Generally, the more terror and helplessness we feel, the more likely it is we will be traumatized. Attachment injury can be just as insidious and harmful as trauma and can have the same impact. It's defined as an emotional wound to the core relationship with a caregiver, often caused by abuse, neglect, or inconsistency of care in early childhood. Trauma and attachment injury can impair our recovery and meditation practice in slightly different ways. With trauma, we may feel fear, even panic, or distrust when asked to sit in meditation, even when intellectually we know we're in a safe place with a supportive group. It may be triggering to be asked to be present in our bodies and minds for our focus on our breath. It may also feel unsafe when your identity is uniquely different from the majority of the Sangha. Attachment injury may show up as hesitation to trust people or a process, as a reluctance to be part of a recovery group or Sangha, or as a core belief that we don't belong. In this case, the nurturing thing to do for ourselves might be to lean into discomfort compassionately and encourage and investigate the stories we tell ourselves about not belonging. Again, it's key to become aware of the nature of the harm we carry with us. Trauma and attachment injury may require different ways of feeling safe and supported. You should always do whatever is most compassionate for yourself in the moment and seek outside help when you need it. Trauma and attachment issues are relevant to suffering and addiction because they can have a huge impact on our mental and physical health. Studies show that these who struggle with addiction have often experienced trauma at some point in their lives. What we try to use to make us feel better, whether it's substances or behaviors, often only reinforces the cycle of aversion and craving that will lead to more suffering. The brain can be overactive when trauma is present because it perceives a very real threat, and the body often responds with feelings of helplessness, fear, and vulnerability. This system can easily be thrown into overdrive when one's life experience screams, "You're not safe, danger, danger," even when danger is no longer present. For some people, post-traumatic symptoms may be increasingly severe and last long after original events have ended. Many of us have intrusive thoughts that come out of the blue when we feel confusion or mood swings we can't link to specific events. Traumatic responses may lead us to avoid activities and places that trigger memories of events. We can become socially isolated and withdrawn and lose interest in things we used to enjoy. PTSD may cause us to be easily startled, edgy, have impaired function during sex and other activities, or unusually alert to potential danger. Overwhelming fear, anxiety, and detachment, and isolation, shame, and anger may become background states of our activities. Many other effects of trauma may be triggered from social interactions, work, meditation, and areas that may be completely disconnected from the original events. Race-based trauma, as well as trauma from any experience of discrimination or bigotry, can accumulate over a lifetime. And when these incidents are consistently separated, they might appear manageable, but when experienced cumulatively can become extremely difficult to cope with. The distress, fear, and physical body responses that may arise from this kind of trauma can overlap with symptoms of PTSD. Trauma and attachment injury can lead to fear, anger, anxiety, guilt, and loneliness that are common responses to various experiences. But at a deeper level, trauma makes it harder for us to cope in general, to form healthy and safe relationships, to develop an identity in the world, or to defend ourselves. No two of us will react the same experience in the same way, but this truth points to the fact that certain past experiences can affect our responses later in life. This is a key to understanding dukkha and to the meaning of our experience with wise compassion, kindness, and courage rather than judgment for others and ourselves, which is an essential part of recovery. Many of us turn to addictive substances and behaviors as a way to cope with our trauma, sometimes running from the pain in our experiences by the way of our addictions was itself a survival technique from feeling that we wouldn't be able to live through the pain of our memories. While this may have provided some temporary relief, it did nothing to actually heal the pain of our trauma and often led to more pain. Our trauma is not our fault, but healing from it is our responsibility and our right. Developing understanding and compassion towards the way trauma affects our reactions to events or circumstances in the present moment is an important part of that healing. Inquiry to the first noble truth. Begin by making a list of behaviors and actions associated with your addictions that you consider harmful. Without exaggerating or minimalizing, think about the things you have done that have created additional suffering to yourself or others. For each behavior listed, write how you and others have suffered because of that behavior. List any other costs or negative consequences you can think of, such as finances, health, relationships, sexual relations, or missed opportunities. Do you notice any patterns? What are they? What are the ways you might avoid or reduce suffering for yourself and others if you change these patterns? How have your addictive behaviors been a response to trauma and pain? And what are some ways you can respond to trauma and pain that nurture healing rather than avoidance? If you have experienced trauma from discrimination, what are ways you can experience healing and practice self-care? Consider opportunities to support social justice while allowing yourself to heal and practice compassion for yourself and others. Thank you for joining me.